Hello and welcome to That Man. That is my merchandise, and this is a light novel. Hello and welcome to That Man and his merchandise, and today we are going to talk about Reborn as a Vending Machine, I Now Wander the Dungeon by Hirokoma. This is a light novel from Yen Press, and it's absolutely insane. Honestly, I looked at this and I was just like, this is going to be so ridiculously stupid. It's not going to be any good. I was so wrong. I was so wrong with this. I came on the back of this compared to on the back of now I sort of reincarnated as a slime. So I was like, yeah, it's another reincarnation series. A slime, a vending machine, they're kind of both. Whereas Reincarnated as a Slime, which the review will be up very soon, is more about the rebuilding of a town and an overall world. This is from the eyes of a guy who is killed by a guy who loves vending machines, goes around, goes to vending machine museums, buys everything he can that's new, knows all the different types of vending machines, is ultimately killed by a vending machine. He's just walking along, and it's stupid. The death's stupid. It's kind of like Konosuba, where the death is ridiculously stupid, where he's just like, a vending machine comes off the back of a truck and he's like, no, I must catch you. And then obviously he remembers that a vending machine is a lot more heavier than even when empty, and is ultimately squashed. He is then reborn as a vending machine in the middle of a dungeon. Almost instantly, he is put into danger. He's attacked by these frog creatures who keep attacking, and he discovers that he can have a blessing, and he uses a force field. Now, everything that he tries to do, like stuff like if he uses the force field, if he buys new products, if he does anything, requires points, and points are created via coins. So if you put money in, if you buy something, he gets points, and it's actually pretty darn good. You can tell the guy has a love for vending machines, and I know over here you may see the odd vending machine in a hospital, you may see it in a waiting room at an airport or a train station or something. You gotta remember, in Japan, vending machines sell so much more. Vending machines can sell drinks, they can sell hot foods like Cup Ramens, they can sell underwear, condoms, and stuff like this is covered in the book. It's very, very easy to read. I got through this in a week, and I'm quite a slow reader because I get distracted, because I only read these on my break. So I got through quite slow for my taste, but it was still pretty quick. And so this guy is reborn in this vending machine in the middle of a dungeon. He is discovered by a young girl called Lamis, who is quite mysterious in her own ways. She is incredibly overpowered. She is actually the overpowered character, which is nice to have the side character as the overpowered one. And she kind of has more strength than she knows what to do with. And she befriends him, or she's kind of like in danger, and she gets like a water and a little bit of food and stuff like that, and she befriends him because she kind of twigs on that he's a special magical item, because obviously he can only say certain things as well. He can't say like, oh hi, how are you? He's just like, welcome, get one free for winner, that's what it is, and thank you and stuff like that. It's kind of like stuff that you would hear in a vending machine or something like that. And so she carries him back to this settlement, and when he's at the settlement, then he kind of starts raking in the money. You start seeing him improve his ways, because at the beginning he starts off with water and I think like fruit juice and stuff like that, and then he starts getting Cup Ramen, mints, that's another one, and stuff like that, and it's all very different. Cola as well that he gets, and it's quite interesting. It's worth reading just to see the random stuff that he comes out with. It's one of those series, I felt that if they finished it on volume 1, that would have been more than enough. There is a volume 2. I haven't purchased it. I haven't bought it yet just because I got a backlog of it. But I will definitely be reading more because it is so much fun. And the characters, Boxor, the vending machine that is dubbed Boxor by Lamis, the girl, he is quite interesting. It's like you get enough character from him. And the side characters are kind of what builds it. Because he's in a town and because he's a vending machine, a lot of it comes around to the town itself. So we see the day-to-day stuff. We see like the young rich girl who kind of originally is like, I want this, and then she starts respecting him a little bit more. We see like the men in black who follow her, who kind of like, oh god, and then they're just like, oh, I'll have a nice little water. You see like the old couple who go to him, and it becomes like a morning ritual for some people. You meet the guards, who kind of like, the on guard, so they're like, oh well, what we'll do is we'll drag Boxer over to use like for an hour every day, and you can buy stuff. And it is really interesting how this one vending machine can change the complete workings of a fantasy town, because they don't know what it is. They're just like, oh, it's a magic box. There is some fighting in it. It's not one of those series where it kind of doesn't have any fighting or anything like that. There's probably 2 or 3 fights in this. So you do get a little bit of that, and it's quite interesting because they kind of like, well, a vending machine that would put coins in, it's like, yeah, we'll pay coins. That would be useful on a battlefield that is kind of like backup food and stuff like that. But Boxer does do like his own thing where they're kind of fighting a monster and they kind of use cola and mints in order to attack it and stuff like that. I'm not going to get too much into the later stuff. The one thing I didn't like about this, and I felt that this was a little bit on the author's kind of way, there is a hot springs bit. Now, for context, at one point they kind of go to the Hunters Association, who is run by a bear, a talking bear, which is awesome. So we'll get a nice CGI bear if the anime gets done. And they're like, yeah, there's a sex shop and stuff like that, and we want to try and avoid disease. So he's like, oh well, I bought condoms in the past, so I'm stock condoms. And it's like, yeah, okay. And at first I was quite amused. Then it kind of got into this whole like, oh yeah, this is this lass who is like the mistress of a brothel, and I was fine with that. And then it was kind of the way they were explaining stuff, and this hot springs thing, especially, they're just like, Boxer gets dragged there because of course, and then he's sitting there explaining, he's like, I looked at her beach balls. Wait a minute. Those aren't beach balls. And I was just like, really? I mean, it feels like the guy was it felt like it was for too much of a horny guy just like, the beach balls are that big. And I was just kind of like, no. Thankfully, I mean, that's one chapter. There's a lot of chapters in here. But it's very much the usual, I don't really know how to write girls. It's like, oh, your boobs are bigger than mine, oh, kind of thing. And it was just like, oh no, I was saying this so many times. And thankfully, it was like one chapter. There's a lot of chapters in here. There's like each chapter's probably like 3 or 4 pages. But like I said, a lot of stuff gets done. So he's not really huge on the whole description kind of thing, which is fair enough. It does see at the back. It's like I was like. The epilogue, afterward, I don't really read them as much because it's usually, oh, thanks for reading it. But I read this one, and you could see how much motivation and passion he had for this. Because he was like, well, I inherited my family's, but he basically said, the author says, like, I watched my dad fall from a height and die, and that scarred me that much I couldn't continue on with work. And he says that, like, oh, well, I tried to do this, I tried to do that. It's like, I tried to do a normal isekai, and I tried to do a harem, and nobody was bothered about this. And he was like, oh, well, I'll just do with one about a vending machine. It's so ridiculous and not get picked up. And it's like, everyone loves it. And yeah, honestly, it's ridiculous. It's one that's gone under the radar, probably because there isn't an anime yet. I would love to see an anime because I was looking at it, I was like, how do I cosplay this? And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. But honestly, if you want a fun, light-hearted read, definitely check this one out. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to pick up volume 2. And yeah, definitely try it. It's stupid fun. It's not the best written, but it doesn't get so bad that I wanted to stop. I was reading, I was like, yeah, this hot springs, and I was just like, after the chapter afterwards, it's like about like when he gets a slot machine attached to him, and I was like, yeah, okay, and it's just stuff like that. Overall, definitely check it out. I would recommend this in as long as one of those ones. It's like if it's like, oh, people are like, oh, I've seen Konosuba, I've seen ReZero, I don't need to read it. And it's like, well, check this one out because it's not got anime and it's fun and it's stupid and you'll probably enjoy it a lot more than you expect. That's it from me. Thanks for coming and thanks again for staying. Goodbye. Did you enjoy that? Well, we've got some other stuff on the site if you want to have a little bit of look. Nendoroids, gaming, One Piece merchandise, it's all kind of there. So if you click around here, you'll be able to subscribe or at least have a look on the channel. Also, there's some other things just around here. Thanks for coming and thanks again. Goodbye.